In the opening of the story, an angel recounts that one day she heard from a person that she should learn more about humans, and this leaves her very insecure because she doesn't even know how to greet them properly. However, above the insecurity, tremendous curiosity leads the angel to the heart of one of the cities of men, where she believes she will live fantastic experiences. Meanwhile, leaving his shift at the fancy restaurant, Tokumitsu is exhausted due to the long shift he just finished. On his way home, he encounters a kitten he had adopted as a child, but since he couldn't keep it, a cat-loving neighbor ended up taking the animal. It seems too late to think about it, but currently, he could take care of this kitten after all, as it has been a month since he started high school and moved out on his own. His apartment is not the epitome of tidiness, but one day he will put everything in order. At this moment, all he wants is not to feel so alone all the time. Until suddenly, a feather of angelic wing invades his house through the window. The next day, the alarm clock wakes Tokumitsu, and his body feels so heavy that he's sure he caught a cold. During breakfast, he notices that the window slept open, although he always closes it every night, but soon he realizes the reason for all this: an unknown girl sleeping on his balcony. The young man panics and ends up spilling his milk on her, who, after saying good morning to the homeowner as if she had been living there for years, decides to change her wet clothes. Meanwhile, Tokumitsu wonders if this person might be an otaku cosplayer who practices parkour in her spare time, or if this could be some new internet prank, so he closes all the curtains to prevent the cameras from filming the apartment. In the meantime, the girl asks for some borrowed clothes, and Tokumitsu rummages through his drawers like crazy in search of a shirt. After finding the only clean blouse, he apologizes for it not being anything more refined, but it's the girl who apologizes for having used the boy's balcony without permission, as she had nowhere else to sleep. Then she introduces herself as Tawa, while he says his name is Tokumitsu Shintaro. Then the girl uses the boy's first name Shintaro to express her happiness at having met a person with such a pure heart, and that this can only be the work of God. With this, the boy begins to appreciate the politeness and beauty of the stranger, who would love to thank all of Shintaro's family members. However, he tells her that he lives alone, and Tawa is impressed that he lives alone in this mansion with so many windows. Facing this, Shintaro has to explain that this room is his entire house, not the entire building. With so many things scattered around, Tawa thought the apartment was a storage room, and this disconnected thought of the girl makes the homeowner think there's something wrong with her. Besides, he questions why she was sleeping on the balcony, and without answering the question, the girl remembers that she needs to repay the hospitality somehow, so she asks the boy to tell her without fear what she can give in return. As she was too close and insisting that she will do everything in her power, Shintaro loses his temper and says that there's nothing he wants, so Tawa laments and promises to at least cook something for the host, but there are no ingredients in the house because the guide only eats frozen food with Coca-Cola. Since that's the case, the girl decides to contribute with some cleaning, but as she rushes to the balcony, she ends up tripping over a pile of very suspicious magazines. Fortunately, she didn't see what happened because she was busy separating a cat fight to fulfill the verse, "Love your neighbor as yourself." After that, Shintaro puts some band-aids on the girl's scratched fingers and tells her to chill, because these cats sometimes fight but live rubbing against each other on the neighborhood rooftops. Seeing the purity of the girl, Shintaro understands that she might have reasons to run away from home, but reminds her that it's dangerous for a girl to sleep outdoors, so she needs to consider going back home. However, Tawa explains that she lives in heaven, God's abode, and that she is an angel. Shintaro finds it amusing to hear what he just heard, but soon he realizes that the girl is serious, so he is taken aback while Tawa tells him that she came down to earth by God's order and represents the angels on a mission to learn about humans. In the midst of this speech, Shintaro really saw that she was serious, but that doesn't mean he believes it, because in his mind, clearly Tawa escaped from some asylum or is one of those pretty, made-up girls who keep pushing some generic computer course. Finally, the strange girl asks to spend a few days at the boy's house, but as the alarm clock alerted that there's half an hour left for work, Shintaro rushes to get her out, at least promising to accompany her to the bus stop. After all the confusion, Shintaro takes a deep breath and believes he made the best decision. In the late afternoon, the boy was exhausted because of the worsening cold, and so the boss let him leave work early. On his way home, he wonders if Tawa really went back home, certain that he would never see her again, until she passes by Shintaro in the company of a weird old man who invited her to go to a hotel. Faced with the situation, he grabs Tawa by the wrist and pulls her away. But when it's time to lecture the angel about not trusting strangers, the boy falls flat on the ground and faints. Sometime later, Shintaro wakes up in his house, and Tawa was so worried by his side that she even shed tears of relief upon hearing from the boy that he's better. Shintaro looks around and realizes that the girl had spent all this time taking care of him, and speaking of which, she offers him milk and shiro porridge made with the leftover bread as she didn't find rice in the house. Shintaro is happy to eat something he's never eaten before, but at the same time feels embarrassed when Tawa insists on feeding him. In the end, he gives in and feels good to be eating something so delicious made by someone who cared so much to take care of him. After relishing every second of this unique moment, Shintaro resumes his motherly sermon, which he stopped giving in the street, warning Tawa not to trust strangers because there are many bad people in the world. The angel tries to justify her action in following that man but ends up not finding the right words, so Shintaro breaks the silence by offering her his home to stay for a few days since Tawa really has nowhere else to go. With the good news, the girl hugs Shintaro tightly, who knows that this girl is a bit crazy and absent-minded but still a good girl. At least he thinks so. Next, the homeowner comments that it must have been difficult to carry him there, but Tawa replies that it was the easiest thing in the world, considering she can fly. So as the boy makes that same incredulous face again, this time she spreads her angelic wings so that there is no doubt left about who she really is, and Shintaro is enchanted by the beauty of that unique scene. However, as he wakes up the next day, the young man is certain that it was just a dream until the angel wakes up next to him and throws all his certainty down the drain again. Shintaro asks what she's doing in his bed, but as the girl reminds him it's the only bed in the apartment. Seeing that he has indeed taken an angel to raise, Shintaro sees her dress slowly slipping off her shoulder, so he hurries to tell her to change clothes to go buy coffee on the street. Arriving at the corner store, he's eyeing some rice to buy, while Tawa shares a steamed bun that comes as a bonus dish for those who collect some stickers from the packaging. With excitement, the angel ends up exposing her wings outside, so Shintaro needs to put her back on track to avoid causing chaos inside the grocery store. Upon returning home, she apologizes for the untimely excitement and explains that she learned to keep her wings inside while on Earth because she read the Guide to Earth Life for Good Kids. Interested in the subject, the human asks what angels actually do in life, so Tawa explains that they convey God's will to people and take care of souls so they don't get lost between heaven and earth. Shintaro thinks that's a tough job because there are plenty of people in this world, while Tawa concludes by saying that bringing happiness to humans is also an angelic service. However, when the guy asks what angels do to generate this happiness, Tawa realizes she hasn't found out yet, but she presumes that God sent her to find out. Soon, Tawa takes a bite of the steamed bun she brought and promises to eat it every day she can. But Shintaro knows that buying it every day at the neighborhood corner store will drain the money his parents give him every month, so he decides he'll have to start cooking from now on. Therefore, he invites Tawa to buy the ingredients as well as the things she needs for everyday life, like a toothbrush. And once again, the angel lets her wings out and shows that she's still going to be a handful on the street. Before they leave, Tawa puts her hand on Shintaro's forehead to see if the fever has improved, and once again, he can't control his embarrassment, hastily saying that it was probably just exhaustion fever. As they arrive at the mall, the angel believes it's actually a palace and runs ahead out of pure excitement. Shintaro follows behind the new guest and tries to keep her close to buy the things she needs, and the girl offers to float the shopping basket in case it gets too heavy, considering her wings have to stay out for that. After refusing the offer, obviously, Shintaro puts some chopsticks in the basket, while Tawa seems interested in a kitten mug she found, but since the homeowner already has enough cups, she's too embarrassed to ask. Around them, people are enchanted by Tawa's princess-like appearance, so Shintaro decides to go buy some clothes to attract less attention. Upon entering the store, the boy is relieved to have money to buy a blouse or two, since he saved up from the work he's been doing. So he insists that Tawa take a look around and try on all the models she finds most interesting. A saleswoman offers a new collection to the angel, and she gets excited picking out the pieces she wants to try. When Tawa enters the fitting room, the saleswoman comments that Shintaro's girlfriend is very beautiful, but he makes sure to explain that it's not what she's thinking. In the midst of this, as she changes, Tawa reflects that Shintaro took her in even though he doesn't know her deeper, so she thinks of something to repay all that kindness and goodness, since she said earlier that bringing happiness is her function. Thus, she steps out of the fitting room with one of the outfits, takes the boy's hand, and promises to make him happy, making everyone around think it's a marriage proposal. On their way out of the store, Shintaro is relieved that he didn't feel so embarrassed about this public declaration until Tawa asks him what he thought of her new outfit. Inside, he was saying how beautiful she looked, but on the outside, he could only say that it suited her. Then they buy the food and return home. Upon arrival, Shintaro is tired and assumes that the angel must be too, especially since today is Sunday and the mall was crowded. But Tawa replies that she had a lot of fun because Shintaro was by her side. Moreover, Tawa finds among the purchases the kitten mug she wanted so much, and with that, they both become embarrassed at the same time in the face of this moment of affection, and Shintaro thinks to himself that he also had a lot of fun with this mysterious angel. As night falls, Shintaro shares the bed with Tawa again and remembers that he shouldn't have bought another bed as well. Hey folks, we're kicking off the new anime season, and if you enjoyed this anime and want to see more of it, go ahead and hit that like button down below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We need your support to reach our goal of 70,000 subscribers. Every subscription counts and helps us grow our community. Catch you next time.